That was definitely me. Um, Alrighty, I want to tell you about one thing that's coming up, and that is we've totally transformed what we always have done as our 40 Days to a Personal Revolution program and just created a whole 6-week challenge out of it. I'll be the leader of the program. We'll meet on Wednesday evening, so I'll teach, Kelly will teach, then the program will occur, and a person can do it virtually with the Lancaster group. And we have in this the opportunity for this total reset of yourself through a whole reset, body, mind, and spirit. So through the yoga practice, meditation, some really intentional journaling, and then we've really set up the nutrition piece with grocery shopping lists and recipes to help people create, I'll say like a vitality building diet instead of maybe something that's depleting, because we need a fresh start this year, different from I'm done with 21 and I'm ready for a fresh start. So that's what there is to share with you. We start the program in the last week of January. Okay, let's get started in the first yoga practice of a whole brand new year. So we really need to set the space from home and in the studio and create something new. So child's pose. Set your breath, set your drishti, and then start to put your attention on what your intention will be on this first practice of the year for you. In one of the trainings I did a long time ago, it was the very first training a teacher at the time who was kind of popular taught. Her name was Sean Korn, and she said in her life, she used to be like hard charging and being like, yeah, I'm ready for a miracle. Give me a miracle. And then after she got a few miracles, she learned that the way a miracle comes doesn't always include sunshine and rainbows. And she learned to ask for a miracle with a little bit of humility and humbleness. So while you're breathing here and selecting your intention for the practice for the year, I invite you to invite a miracle and to bring some humbleness to that invitation. On the next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. When you get here, start to bend and straighten your knees. To achieve the miracle that you're setting the intention for, it will take a lot of rigor and intentionality, specificity to what you do. So right now, be specific with your hands on the floor and your feet on the floor, your breath, and your drishti. Then take another breath in and exhale. Then look forward and step up to the front of your mat. When you get there, inhale, lift up halfway, stretch your whole body long, and hang down. Now, while you're hanging here with your breath set and a really purposeful drishti, know that where you place your feet often has a lot to do with the specific results you want to achieve. So through this practice, with your intention as a North Star, I would invite you to manifest it physically by just being really purposeful about your feet. Take another breath here. Then press your feet down into the mat. Let the mat have a quality of rising back up and come rolling up to standing. Sweep your arms overhead, look up and stretch up. Then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest and pause. Set your gaze, set your intention. 3 times we'll chant Om. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up and look. Exhale, fold to the floor. Inhale, lift up halfway, high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Now 3 breaths here. Breathe for yourself to fill and empty your body, but breathe to listen to and share with the others in the room and at home. 1 more breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step up to your hands. Lift up halfway and fold. Press your feet, stand up, look up and reach, fold all the way down to the floor. Inhale, lift up halfway, long spine. Keep that high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, press down, rise up. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. 2 more. Last breath in. Bend your knees, look forward, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Organize your feet, press down, reach up, stretch, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. One more breath in. Bend your knees, look forward, jump to your hands. Halfway lift and fold. Press down, reach up, look up, fold to the floor. Half lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. As much as you're purposeful with your feet, right now with your hands on the floor, be purposeful with your hands. Exhale on this last breath, look forward, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Now chair pose, squat back and reach up, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge, back foot flat. You can press your arms overhead. Take 3 breaths here and anchor the back edge of your back foot down into the mat. Lunge down deep into your front foot. Then reach up and breathe. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left side, step forward, reach up. You won't even have to look, but feel, use your senses, feel where your feet are, and be aware of your back foot. A lot of you could use a pressing and anchoring of the back edge of your back foot. Then elbows, wrists, fingers, intentional reach, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 2 more breaths. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, deep into your heels and reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. You can drop right into it. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, lunge, inhale, reach, anchor your back foot, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left foot step, lunge, anchor, deep reach, up, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a sigh. 2 more breaths. Last one. Bend your knees on the exhale. Jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Sit. Reach. Fold to the floor. Half lift. Low plank. Even here, active feet. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot steps. Purposeful feet. Plant them and from them reach. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. downward facing dog, left side step. Right away from the feet to the fingers, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. 2 more. Get your hands ready, squeeze the mat, bend your knees, jump. Halfway lift, fold. 1 more time, chair pose, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, anchor your feet, reach up, use your fingertips, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step, anchor, reach, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. Some of the best practices I've ever had were ones where I put all of my attention on my hands and my feet, and I was purposeful, specific with them throughout the practice. Raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee, heel to your hip and open. Anchor your hand, flip the pose, 2 feet on the floor. Now press down and rise up, and then check it out and see what's available to you. Let your whole chest open. Take 3 more breaths. 2 more to expand your chest and upper back. 1 more. Stay for the whole exhale. Then side plank, right hand to the mat, face the left side, stack your body up. Press down to rise up, to look up, and open your chest. 1 more breath, hands to the floor, purposeful hands, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now the left side. Leg in the air, bend your knee, flip the pose over. While you're here in the pose, breathing, you get to manifest the kind of results that you want. The more specific you are in your intentionality, the more specific the results. Pick some result in your body with the last 2 breaths just before those results. 1 more. Side plank, left hand down, turn and face the right side of your mat and stack it up and reach. From 1 hand pressing to 1 hand reaching, whole body opening. And Kevin, look up to the ceiling if you can. Everyone lift up, reach up, high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now step your right foot forward and lunge to crescent lunge, stack your back heel over your toes and reach. This is a pose where it makes a real difference to be specific with your feet. That was it, Philomena. Stack your heel right on top of all 5 toes in your back foot. Once you have your attention, your feeling, felt sense attention on your back foot, hold your attention there, and from your back foot to your fingertips, reach up and go back. Amanda, I saw that. I saw your foot wake up and then your whole body wake up. That was so cool. 1 more breath. Hands to prayer position. Now twist. So left elbow to your right knee. Anchor it there. Take yourself into the extent of the pose that you feel is right for you now. Twisting, opening, binding, wherever that will be. And take 3 breaths to fill the pose up. Take up all the space you can. And an exhale to soften it. 2 more. Last one. Inhale right up to the crescent lunge. Turn open to the warrior 2. So point your front knee and toes directly in front of you. Swing your back heel out so your toes in the back foot angle in. And then stand in both legs and lunge down low. For me, I would typically lean into my front leg and have nothing in my back leg. Stand in both legs and stretch your arms apart. Another breath, lunge deeper and tilt for extended side angle. So reach for the floor and reach for the ceiling. Breathe and let your body warm up. Jody, you can go longer in that stance. Yes, and then you'll have more access to the tilt. One more breath. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. I think your mat's wearing out. It's sliding across the floor on you. Left foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead and just build the pose. So feel your way through the pose from your back foot, up your back leg to your hip and to your fingertips. Jennifer, can you stand your heel on top of your 5 toes? So it's typical for your heel to kind of hang in a little bit. But when you really square it up and then lean forward and stack your foot, your whole back leg becomes more powerful. Yeah, you had it there. One more breath. Hands to prayer and twist now to the left. Right elbow, left knee. Keep on breathing here and keep your attention in your back foot, making modifications and adjustments as you notice something that you might want and need in your back foot. Set the pose up, fully open it, fully create it, and then right here, 3 breaths. So here on the edge of the pose, the way you created it, these 3 breaths carve out just a little more space. When it's over, crescent lunge. Go at your own pace, warrior 2. I always find this transition a little tricky, not to have this breakup of my attention and like re-look at my body to organize it. Know that you can feel your way into it and you'll know exactly where to be. That can be one of the best ways to choose where you're going to be in a pose, is to use your felt sense, because it will never take you into injury, but it will show you new opportunities. A deep lunge, stretch your arms, now tilt to the floor and to the ceiling. Breathe here. You can stretch your arms in 2 directions. 3 more breaths. Deepen your lunge. 2 more. Last one. Then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now in the downward dog, take a breath in and let a sigh come out. One more time, inhale. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, jump. Halfway lift and fold. Feet wide and parallel, squat way into the chair. Hands to prayer, twist toward your right side. Stay deep in this lunge. Hips pulling to the back of your mat, and then press into your right foot. You might notice that the weight is out of your right foot. Bring weight into your right foot, and from that, twist open. You can open your arms or stay with prayer hands. Keep pressing into your right foot, lengthening your left side body. One more breath. Stay here and exhale. Reach up, chair pose, forward fold. With your middle and index fingers, hook your big toes. Once you're hooked, lift up halfway and then pull your chest down toward the ground. See if you can create in this pose that from your heels, through your hamstrings, your lower back, your neck, the crown of your head to your eyebrows, you can experience stretching and warming. That may take a little something. Maybe it's opening your heels a little wider or letting your head drop down. Take another breath. Totally relax in the pose. And then we'll twist the other way, chair pose. Reach up, hands to prayer, and now you're twisting right elbow to left thigh. Once you get your elbow set, work with your feet. It doesn't even mean your feet need to move. Pressure from one foot to the other throughout your left foot, and then build the pose. Open your arms, half bind or full bind the pose. Press into your foot. Lengthen your back right rib cage. One more breath in. Fully twist, exhale. Chair pose, reach up. Forward fold for gorilla pose. Slide your palms under the soles of your feet from the toe end. Once you get your palms under there, you might notice the weight is rolled out into your baby toe. Be really definitive and just push down into your hand with the ball of your big toe. there'll be all of a sudden some new kind of stretching in your palm and the area of your thumb and pointer finger. Breathe and put your attention on that. Get interested in it. This is the area of your palm that would ideally be the anchor in your downward facing dog, handstands, crow poses. Anytime your hands are feet on the floor bearing weight, right here in that area of your palm. So we're going to use that. Release your feet, crow pose. So set your hands wide on your mat. Tilt forward, knees outside of your armpits and press. As you're breathing, concentrate on that area between the knuckle of your pointer finger and your thumb, that hollow of your palm. Press it into the floor. Every time you exhale, press it into the floor. 2 more times. Let your body lift a little as you press. And on this last one, chest forward, legs float back. 1 at a time is a really healthy way to go. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So we learn that jumping back and it's like a total crash landing. Come back up to the front of your mat. Create your crow pose. So tilt forward. Give yourself a breath or 2, whatever you need. And then move into the chaturanga 1 leg at a time. See if you can control it more. So just crawl back. Yeah, right from the crow pose, 1 leg at a time. Crawl back. Or still belly flop. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So just take a breath in and a breath out, look forward. Jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, fold. Press your feet into the ground and come rolling up. Sweep your arms overhead. Right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left. Squat down. Right leg over your left leg. So there's an opportunity in this pose for the whole of your upper back to open. Move your fingertips to the ceiling a little more and then away from your face a little more until you get the maximum stretch in your upper back. And then just put your attention there and breathe into it, that space in your upper back. Keep your drishti set, step out and switch sides, then left arm under, left leg over. The upper back now on this side. It could be a little different with the bind being opposite. Elbows a little higher, fingertips a little away from your face until you can feel a stretch from shoulder through your upper spine to shoulder. 1 more breath here. Step out, arms overhead. Right side again. Right arm under, right leg over. Set up your upper back the way you already know how to do it. Take another breath in, and when you exhale, make a quality of hollowing out your upper back by pulling your chest into your body more. So instead of standing straight and tall now, you'll pull your chest into your body, and you'll feel your upper back really maximally stretching. Let your chin drop to your chest if you need. Take another breath in and start to hinge forward in a rounded back until you're looking at the floor in your eagle pose. Now, every time you exhale as you're breathing, press your chest more into your back and up to the ceiling. Chin tuck to your chest. Take 3 breaths here and open your upper back and the back of your neck. Complete your last breath, and then with purpose, up to standing, step out, arms overhead. Left side, left arm under, squat down, left leg over your right leg. You know where we're going now. Up with your fingertips and away. A breath in. You can even blow out through your mouth until your chest pulls back. Take another breath and tuck your chin. So you can really feel stretch in the upper back through the neck, through your scalp to your eyebrows. Then start to crowd down, roll down, curl down. You'll need a new drishti spot and breath. Every time you exhale, now that you're curled down here, push your chest up into your torso, up into your upper back. Let there be more stretching across your shoulders and through your neck. Take 3 breaths here. Feel free to create a percussive, a loud exhale, if that's what it takes to get more space. After the 3rd one, come up to standing. Sweep your arms overhead, hands to your hips. And then just roll your shoulders around a couple of times and see what you see in your upper back. Then hug your right knee into your chest. Hold your right foot, extend your knee forward, and stand up tall. Even here in the holding on to your foot, you have this chance while you're holding on to your foot to crowd your shoulders forward and then to broaden your chest and stand in a neutral tall space. Keep all of that, this like tall, proud body, and open your leg to the right, look and reach to the left. While you're here and you're reaching, take your shoulders and just roll them a couple of times until they land in a neutral space, and take another breath. Then bring your leg forward and hug your knee into your chest. Open your arms and get ready for airplane pose. So tilt forward and lift your leg. Now the opposite. Now you can let your upper back fall down into your body and into your chest. So much so that on the front side, from chest out to shoulder to fingers, you have maximal stretching. The way to get a little bit more is to hug the pit of your belly into your body, then hands to prayer position, half moon pose. Left fingertips to the floor, right fingertips to the ceiling. You expanded your chest, you expanded your upper back. Now balanced and neutral as you just reach your arms apart and let your shoulders settle back to the back side of your body in their home, in their neutral position. One more breath. Feet to the floor and hang. Sway from side to side and get a sense of what you're feeling in your body. Then come up to standing and hug your left knee into your chest. Hold your knee, hold your foot, use a strap to hold your foot. Extend your knee and stand tall. No matter how you've connected to your foot, strap, hand, whatever it is, instead of leaning back and pushing your foot into your hand or strap, draw your thigh bone in and stand up tall. That takes a couple of breaths sometimes for me until I can get my thigh bone in until the point where both sides of the back of my pelvis are level. Once I've got that, keep it, that kind of collected quality, and move your leg open to the left, look and reach to the right. Just check yourself out. What happened when you just changed the position? Are you now pushing out now into your hand or strap? What would it take for you, maybe on an exhale, to just settle back into the center? Bring your leg forward, hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose, open up. Yep, that's it. Just a way to start, right from the beginning. Opened up and breathe. That's it. Keep working the space from finger through chest to fingertips. Last breath, let yourself have as much upward dog quality in your chest as you can. Then hands to prayer position, half moon. Left fingertips to the floor, right fingertips to the floor, left fingertips to the ceiling. From the center of you, whatever you consider to be the center, all the way out to the periphery, fingertips and toes. And then from the periphery, all the way out to the edges of the room where you're practicing. 2 more breaths. Last one, feet down and hang. Sway from side to side, or bring yourself up to standing if you're ready for that. We'll take the standing bow pose next. Shoulder rolled back, palm facing out. Keep that set up. It's tempting to curl forward and grab your ankle, but keep it rolling out. Hold on to your ankle. Knee pressed down, your right knee down, left fingertips up, like a maximum stretch between the two, and then start to stretch into the pose. The default can be that we're kind of casual with our reaching arm, with our toes and our fingers, and then you lose your balance. Consider if there's like this bubble all around you, that with all of your periphery, hands, feet, head, you're reaching out to, touching and balancing on your bubble that is your periphery. Press into it. One more breath. Jennifer, awesome change in your hands. You got this extra bit of stretch right there. We'll start again, right side. Or we're on the left side, sorry. The other side. And go ahead and go. Get too excited about the changes. I'm like, where are we here? That's it, Kevin. Once you've got your knee, take the stretch, knee to the floor, fingers to the ceiling. And then just start moving it apart. Here's one cool thing you might find in the pose. Take an inhale, a sigh on the exhale so your body gets soft. Now really stretch. Fingers, toes, head, stretch until it feels like you're balancing them on that bubble, and then push through the bubble to the walls. And step out. Feet on the floor, hands on your hips. Tree pose. Stand on your left foot, sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh, hands to prayer position. Behind your back with the prayer position. And breathe. Maybe your body has crouched down in your shoulders and chest to get that prayer position. Take a sigh here. Press your feet into the ground. And then lift your belly all the way up to your chin and let your shoulders open and experience the new stretch in your hands and your forearms. Switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. I go through phases with poses where different ones are interesting to me at different times in my practice. I don't know if you experience it that way. But this one has been interesting to me lately. Maybe before it wasn't drawing my attention and it was just like one more to do in the series. But now that I'm starting to really get my hands behind my back, really get the stretching in the forearms and how my whole body has to connect to make that happen. And when it does happen, I get this incredible sense of openness and calm. Maybe you can tap into something like that. One more breath. And then step out. Come to the front of your mat. Press your feet down. Inhale, reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift up halfway. Drop right into your low plank. Upward facing dog. Open. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Land your feet in a long stance. Triangle pose. If your stance is really narrow, you're probably going to get stuck with kind of like a waist bend. Instead, long, anchor your front foot and drag a stretch all the way up your front inner thigh. Breathe here. Feel what you feel in this pose in your body. And then determine what else might be here for you. It could be just to be exactly as you are, or it could be to really anchor your feet with more intention, with more intensity. And then from that, enjoy the possibility that's available to lift up. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat with your feet parallel to the short sides and lift your chest and forward fold. I'm still liking for myself to walk my fingertips forward, get a little weight settled into those fingertips, and then to drag my weight back into my heels until I can get this sense of each one of my ribs toward the sides and the back of my body maximally stretched apart. And then what's interesting is just to breathe full breaths and become aware of the space that gets created in between each one of the ribs. See if you can create not just space, but malleability between your ribs. That there's this quality of tissue just sliding across itself as you breathe. Walk your hands back in. Come on up to standing. Turn and face the front of your mat. Standing single leg forward fold. So feet not on a line, but with some width and with some length. Hands behind your back, interlace them, lift up high, and fold all the way over. While you're folding, just be purposeful. The four corners of your front foot, drag the stretch up your front thigh to your front leg sitting bone. And then breathe and work with the pose. Work with the pose from your feet. changing weight in the four corners of your 2 feet, looking for new space, new stimulation in the pose. Then twisting triangle, left fingertips down, turn to the right side of the room. You might want to play here as you twist into this pose with how much you soften your knees, lift your back heel, so you can get to this point where you don't feel your body crowding down. Instead, you feel your sitting bones reaching back, and opposite of that, your head reaching forward. Keep on breathing like this with this reaching and your twisting. And then right in your back right rib cage, breathe and make the opening quality that you've already discovered how to make in the forward fold we did. One more breath. Unwind, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. And then switch sides, left foot forward for triangle pose. Take the long stride, move to the rhythm of your breath. Set your feet. Set your pose. And then look for the space being created, stimulation in the pose. This one to me is like one that I have to have in every practice, and sometimes I insert it in a couple of other places because there's so much opening on tight areas. For me, inner thighs can be tight, around my pelvis, around the crest of my hips can be tight, and that leads into a tightness in my lower back. If you have any of that, or whatever you do have, move into that sensation in the pose. Add intensity that has you move into it. And just breathe 2 more breaths and make some space there. Last one. Come up to standing. Turn and face the long right side of your mat. Feet parallel, and that will take some purposefulness. Shoulders behind you. Hold on to a strap. Or interlace your hands, then lift your chest up high and fold down. You could work with your breath here. Purposefully exhaling and letting go every breath cycle. Letting go and getting longer. Letting go and getting heavier in your hands, more open in your shoulders. Perhaps once in a while you just take a sigh and just entirely across your whole body, a total letting go. One more. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat for standing single leg forward fold. Set it up and go. Right from the first breath, right from your feet. A full intentional movement. Like an explorer looking for what's possible in your body. Tap into that your feet are connected to the ground in such a way that you then can feel this quality of receiving from the ground all the way up into your hips. Keep that sense of electricity and energy flowing and set up the twisting triangle. Right hand to the blocker floor. Get your long, flat back set up. And then start to turn your body open. Sometimes we get a little carried away on how far we have to turn and look. We don't really need a lot of that. Keep your 2 hips pulling back. So Jody, pull your left hip back. Yep. And ask for space and stretch in your back right rib cage. Take another breath. Relax your shoulders on your back and open. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Come to a high plank and lower all the way down to your belly on the mat. Locust pose. Keep your toes turned under the way they were in that push-up where you were lowering, and activate your legs. And get really intentional with your feet. And then rise up. Keep your feet anchored on the floor. You don't even have to rise up very high. With your toes anchored on the ground. Just like they were in the push-up. Your feet will lead the pose. There you go. So press your toes down so your chest stretches forward. Yes, you're getting it. Keep pressing down, lifting your chest. One more breath. Relax back down and bend your knees. Reach back and hold your ankles for floor bow pose. Take your shoulders and roll them maybe 2 or 3 times until they just let go behind you, and then you're ready to kick up. Once they let go, just keep drawing your shins back, driving your toes up. Breathe in the pose. Here's the chance for this ultimate opening across your chest and the fronts of your shoulders. Take an exhale and let your shoulders go. Let the center of your chest, from right at your breastbone, out across your chest to your shoulders, let all of that go every time you exhale. One more breath, relax back down. You can put your hands on the floor by your bottom rib cage and inhale, come to upward facing dog. Exhale, move to downward facing dog. Come through your hands, sit down and roll onto your back for bridge pose. Feet on the floor right underneath of your knees. Press your feet down into the ground. Lift your torso up to the ceiling, your hips up to the ceiling. Choose your feet. Be on purpose with your feet. Move your shoulders under your body. I always think of bridge pose as this last opportunity to really just line it all up and to check in with all the parts I've been opening. Then fingertips to the ceiling, flex your wrists and put your palms on the floor under your shoulders. Set your hands really wide. So the default is to bring them in narrow like they're parts of your ear, but set them wide. It'll be awkward at first. Press down and rise up. Hands, feet on the floor. Press down and rise up into the wheel pose. And here you can move your shoulders in shoulder rolls. Even here in this pose, in this wheel pose, you can roll your shoulders. Tuck your chin and come back down. Knees go side to side, and then set up again into the bridge pose and through the bridge pose to the wheel pose. The way you end up in the pose when you first get up there, you don't have to stay that way. You can be making adjustments the whole time. Tuck your chin and come down. Jody, that is an awesome wheel. Sometimes I look at your wheel and I remember the first wheel, and then I see today's wheel. Like, wow, is that the same body? Let's do it again, 2 more times. Press down and rise up. You have the choice to use the bridge pose, a very powerful and strong pose, or move into the wheel. Once you do get there, though, be really on purpose with your hands and your feet. Maybe there's nothing you can change today about them, but just getting to notice them is a big connection. Okay, come on down. We have 1 more left. Let's set it up. Hands and feet on the floor. Press down and rise up. We did a little bit of extra work on opening your upper back because now you need that space to be malleable, that your shoulder blades can move into your upper back and make space for your chest to open. 3 more breaths. Get 2 more. And 1 more. Tuck your chin and come down. Soles of your feet together. Knees out wide. Supta Baddha Konasana. Now here's an amazing sort of pre-Shavasana type moment. There's nothing to do right now. Just be still and let yourself have this incredible quality of connection. You get to feel what you feel in your body, in the room. And then dead bug pose. Hug your knees, hold the outer edges of your feet and pull them back to your shoulders. Rock from side to side. Then legs straight up in the air. Take an exhale and curl up with your fingertips. Try to touch your toenails. And then we'll pulse. Get ready on the exhales. You'll lift a little higher. Go for 10, reaching for your toenails with your fingertips. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your right leg down to hover. In fact, curl up and have a peek at your toes. If your toes on your right leg are turning out, point them right up to the ceiling and do a similar thing with your left leg. Try to keep that. and then curl up to your left toes and pulse up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees, relax your neck, your head, and then the other side. Legs in the air and lower your left leg. Organize, get on purpose with your feet, and then curl up. Reach to the baby toe side of your foot. And go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, hug, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest and rock back and forth from your head to your tail, back and forth, all the way through to downward facing dog. Right side pigeon pose. Bring your right knee forward on the floor. It should land near to your right wrist. Keep your thigh square to the side of your mat. And then start moving back with your back leg into the pose. Check out where your body is. A lot of us need a little support under our right hip. And then intensify the pose by squaring your shin to the front of your mat. Keep both of your feet and your ankles and your toes, keep them active the whole time you hold this pose. This pose starts a series of poses called opening, while your body can hold your attention by bringing sensation intensely to one point. Stay on purpose with your practice. Be specific. Ask for specific results. Do that by using your tools, by fixing your gaze, by setting and observing your breath, by being purposeful with your foundation, your hands, your feet, your core. Right here, even while you're holding this pose. And then place your hands on the ground, purposefully switch to the other side. Left leg forward, right leg back. Pigeon pose. This is a pose where it's really easy to kind of like expand out from the center line. So that's the default. We want to work to hug into the center line. Give yourself access to opening up to the possibility that you could be present and face a challenge. You could experience a challenge instead of pushing it away or pushing it down. As the waves of the pose come to you, let them pass through you. And if the pose isn't calling your attention physically, then intensify it. That's what would be the makeup of the definition of being up to something big in your practice. Going to the edge of things and discovering what's on the edge. Sit over onto your left hip, swing your right leg around for a seated leg extension. So left leg can stay bent, sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. It's like a seated tree pose, and then fold forward. All the way over your long right leg. Bring your breath here. To me, this is one of the best parts of the practice, this pose. It just gets into an area of my body, in my back body, that can be so in need of some relief. If that's the same for you, or you have another part of your body, take the relief that's available in the pose. Breathe and accept it. Accept healing. Accept space. Accept an opening. And then switch sides. Left leg long, right leg bend and fold. What's available here is just a release, a letting go of any holding on and holding it together, and just letting go to what is. Every time you exhale, you have an opportunity to let go even more deeply, more thoroughly. And then come up, 2 legs in front of you, forward fold. Stretch them long, lift up high, or lately I've been really liking interlacing my fingers at my lower back and trying to anchor my sitting bones into the ground and lift up through the crown of my head and just get so much length, and then see if there's some hinging available. At the end of it, I love to drop my chin and straighten my knees and just take an exhale where I'm pressing the front of my body into the back of my body, and just one more time letting that open up. Then roll down on your back and roll your feet overhead. The opening up we just were tapping into, we can exaggerate here in plow pose, in shoulder stand. Take your inversion. At home, roll your feet overhead. I see Kathy with your shoulder stand. Kevin's still setting it up. Kevin's got all the critters in the room with him this morning. And Kathy with that beautiful Christmas tree behind her. Whatever you go for in an inversion right now, get to that space. Breathe. Let go of any controlling it and holding on. That's a little tough sometimes in an inversion, to just let go of controlling it. But could you exhale and let go and just get to this incredible space of being in the pose? Just this free quality where you're floating upside down. If you're in the shoulder stand, bring your toes to the floor for plow pose. And then in the plow pose, bend your knees around your ears and reach for your feet. Hold on to your feet. I will oftentimes organize my feet into the 12 o'clock. I've been creating the whole way through the practice. Feeling one more time that open up the back of my hips. And then with the whole back of your body, as open as you've been able to make it here, put your palms on the ground, slowly roll out of the pose. All the way down, one bone at a time, and hug your knees into your chest. You can drop your knees to the left and look to the right. Switch sides. Be sure to get a sigh in the pose, a sense of letting go. You know, sometimes we say letting go, and I think sometimes it could be perceived to mean let go of any sense of ownership of the pose and just let anything happen, and it's not really what we're saying. We're saying let go of controlling the outcome of the pose, be open to discovering it. Onto your back, Supta Baddha Konasana. Set yourself up for comfort and support. In this Supta Baddha Konasana, you can rearrange your pelvis and your shoulders, lengthen your neck. Take a sigh. When you feel like you've been able to just drop your bones into the floor, Shavasana. Stretch your legs long and wide, arms wide, palms facing up to the ceiling. Once you get your body organized, you have a cold eye towel. If you're here in the studio, you're welcome to place that over your forehead. Do any setting up that you need to do, whether you're at home or here in the studio. Then take a deep breath in and exhale. Give the pose over from control to experience. Begin to make your breath more deep. Maybe you do that by taking an inhale and exhaling through your mouth. And while you're deepening your breath, start to squeeze your hands, ball them up into a fist, and then stretch them out into like a star, and hug your fingers into your palms and stretch them out. And then hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side. Bring yourself up into a sitting position. Create it so that it feels comfortable. Once you get to a seated position, open up to feeling what you're feeling in your body, in the experience you're having right now. Notice how it feels. You've taken an hour and you've created something intentionally for yourself. Not everybody shows up and does that every day, but you do. And then you create that you are a better person in the world for yourself and for others. That's kind of a big deal. And you do that. Set an intention for the rest of your day, for the year ahead, an intention that's a North Star. It guides you. Then inhale and reach your arms overhead. Exhale and bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. 3 times we'll chant Om. Feel free to fill your body up with sound, space, breath, and vibration. Inhale. your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take a moment and offer yourself words of gratitude. Then inhale and exhale. Namaste. Excellent work. Thank you, Kathy at home and Kevin who was with us. I look forward to spending the whole rest of the next year together. We have a lot of new things coming up, especially you'll hear about them in the month of January. So look for our new monthly email newsletter that will come to you toward the end of the week, and you'll learn about a lot of that stuff. All right, well, I'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your day and Happy New Year. Kathy, I forgot to call you back yesterday. I can do that in just a little bit.
Thank you.
I'll call you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.